let's take a look at some more tips to how to use while loops to get this first assignment done, this time with some input commands. So basically, what you can do with while loops is you can ask the user a question, and while loops are great for asking users questions like inputs because you can force them to give you an answer that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to say while name, or no, let's just say color, while color does not equal red. What are we going to do if the color doesn't equal red? We are going to say, oops, color equals input, what's the best color? Right, so it's going to ask them this as long as red is not the color. And so we're going to run it, and we're like, cool, this looks good, and then we get an error. Why? Because color is not defined. Because here, it doesn't ask the user for the input first. What does it do first? It checks to see what the color is, and the color isn't anything. So if I was to say color equals red, the problem is that then it will equal red instead of not equal red, and it will immediately say, oh, it's the right color, it's what he wanted. So I don't want to set my first value to equal the thing I'm checking for. So I could make it just empty. I could make it white. I could make it any word I want. It doesn't matter as long as it doesn't equal red. So I'll just make it empty at the beginning. So it will say, okay, it doesn't equal red, so now I'm going to ask him what's the best color. And then it's going to go back and check again. Does it equal red? If not, it's going to say what's the best color. It's going to keep doing that. What's the best color? Orange. What's the best color? Blue. What's the best color? Yellow. What's the best color? Okay, fine, it's red. And then my program ends, right? Because that's all I told it to do. One input and just keep doing it over and over again. If you want the computer to kind of respond to you, you could do a few things. So you could print at the end, you could print, yes, it is. So, how's this going to work? Well, you'll notice this is not indented. So this is not part of the loop. So the loop will be anything indented over and over and over again. Once it exits the loop, it'll continue on its merry way and do the next thing on the list. The next thing on the list is to say print yes it is. So, what's the best color? And I say fish, and then it asks me again, and this time I know the answer is red, and it says yes it is, right? So it doesn't say the yes it is until it's right. What if you wanted to say no it's not? So this is where it gets a little bit trickier because of how it runs loops. So what's the best color? And this time I say fish and it says no. What's the best color? And this time I say orange and it says no. Then I say red and look what happens. No, yes it is. So there's one thing with loops is that you have to think about like the order it's doing things. Because it always says no as soon as it's done asking you what the best color is, and then it does the test again to decide whether I want to quit. So here you might have to say if color equals red, print, but that bothers people because it's like I'm already testing to see if the color is red. Of course I didn't want to say that. I want to say not equal red. I'm already testing that. Why do I want to test it twice? So that seems redundant. I could put print no up here because then it will say it before it asks the question. But that's weird because then when I run it, it starts by saying no, and I say orange and it says no again, and I say red and now it doesn't say no. So it puts a first no. So there's no great answer for this. There's something you have to do that's not quite perfect in order to get this to work. One way that I tend to do it is I just make my input twice. So what's the best color? If they say red, it's going to skip this entirely and go to yes it is. If they didn't put red, it's going to print no, which is what we want, and then ask again. But then if they do finally say red, it's going to skip this and it won't do it again. So this works, but again, it's a little redundant because I have to put the input in there 2 times. The nice thing about this is then you wouldn't need this line, because then you don't need to set color to be something, because this is going to set it. So it's, half dozen of one, 6 of another, whatever, however they say that phrase. But this is one of the cleanest ways to do this. So I'm going to not show you the exact thing to do for passwords, but hopefully given this hint, you can figure it out. So good luck.